I feel like a big problem in the photography community is the age-old debate of what's your gear and does it really matter? I am someone who has the philosophy of it doesn't really matter. I have used the same camera for, oh gosh, how long? Like 6 years, 6 or 7 years. And I don't have any plans to upgrade anytime soon. I shoot on a Canon EOS 80D. Admittedly, most of the time I use the kit lens that my camera came with. For some people, this may be a old camera, maybe a little outdated. People ask me what camera should they invest in. I always ask them, what are you looking for out of a camera? Because when it comes to the digital camera world, everything is kind of the same. They all kind of do the same thing, and we've kind of reached a point where there's not a lot of innovation in terms of quality, so it really just comes down to the nitty-gritty. What are you looking for out of your camera? What kind of work are you wanting to do with it? Are you looking for something that is more portable or something that you don't mind having a little heft to? Do you want your screen to, swivel outward, or does that not really matter to you? That all is really what I tell people to consider when they want to invest in a camera. Once you have a body that you are happy with, then the accessories, in my opinion, are what really will change the look of your photos. I use a kit lens most of the time, but I also have my nifty 50, and I also have a telephoto lens. Admittedly, I don't use my telephoto lens as much as I should. It's my weak spot. I get a lot of camera shake when I work with it, but the look that I get from it is very different from my kit lens, and my kit lens is very different from my 50 prime lens. For me, lenses and filters are how I get different looks in my work. I use cheaper lenses because lenses can get very expensive very quickly, but it doesn't hinder the quality of my work. I am very proud of the photos that I make, and I'm very happy to say that the people that I have worked for love their photos, and at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. I like to compare a camera and lenses, accessories, etc. to an artist painting. In the world of paint, there are so many different types. There is acrylic and oil and gouache, watercolor, but I don't see artists of a traditional medium arguing about which is better. I see a lot of experimentation. I see a lot of preference, and I don't think preference is a bad thing. I have a preference when it comes to photography. I'm more comfortable shooting on my DSLR than I am a film camera. I'm still learning and experimenting with film, and it's a very intimidating process for me. So I don't feel comfortable investing a lot of money in that side yet. My DSLR is my bread and butter, and so it makes sense for me to invest more into equipment for that. Just like how an artist may prefer to paint with oil, but they may like to occasionally dabble with a little watercolor. It's all about preference and what you're wanting for out of your work, and I don't personally think it's really anyone's business to critique just based on the gear that you use. Your gear isn't what makes your art. You as an artist and your artistic eye and flair is what separates the art from others at the end of the day. A camera, the lens, filters, those are just tools. For me personally, I use a minimal amount of gear. Most of my photography is done on location, including video work is done on location. And so it doesn't really make sense for me to have really heavy strobe lights or continuous lights to carry to location, and it doesn't really make sense for me to have a ton of different lenses. Heck, I don't even have 2 different cameras. I don't shoot events, and so it doesn't really make sense for me to have 2 different cameras for 2 different lenses when I can just take a few minutes, swap out my lenses, my filters, what have you. I also have been using the same speed lights that I have been using for 4 or 5 years now, They are these speed lights that my mentor used, and he recommended them to me because they're affordable. I learned lighting on them, and they are just very comfortable for me to use. I don't really have to think about setting them up. I can just throw them up, get them turned on, all situated, and then get to work. Now, don't get me wrong, I would absolutely love to be able to experiment with fancy strobe lights and all the different gizmos and doodads that come along with that, barn doors and the different light modifiers. All of that looks like so much fun, but where I am right now in my artistic journey, it's not in my budget personally, and I also don't have the space for it. My work closet is packed full, and it is a struggle whenever I just want to get my light stands out for my speed lights. It's okay to take your time gathering gear. As photographers, you know that gear eventually just starts coming out of our ears. There's so much of it. I'm personally not in a big rush to get to that point. I prefer to just take it slow and get things as I need it. If I find myself I'm wanting to achieve a certain effect or a certain lighting that I can't do with my gear that I already have, then that is my artistic voice telling me, okay, maybe it's time to add to our resources, or maybe it's time to upgrade our lighting. I really enjoy just getting familiar with the gear that I have and being comfortable with it. And once I'm comfortable with it, then that is my time to step outside my comfort zone. That's part of the reason I started to dabble in film photography. I not only wanted to understand the magic of film, but I wanted to learn and take a lot of principles of film and apply it to my digital work as well. But even my film camera stuff, I have 2 cameras. I have a manual camera and I have my point and shoot. And I don't have any extra lenses or any lights for those. I'm just rocking and rolling with the sun. And right now, while I'm learning, that's all that I need. And I don't think it says that I am less of a photographer or that my art isn't as beautiful. There's a bit of a problem when it comes to gear and how we treat it in photography, but I hope that after watching this video, maybe you could find some reassurance in knowing that your simple gear is a-okay. And if you had a different opinion, I hope that this video could help maybe open some fun discussion. Whatever it may be, I just want to say thank you for watching until the very end. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a super wonderful day. If you would like to see more, go ahead and subscribe. Leave a likey, all the good YouTube jazz, and I will see you next time. Bye.